What is goes happening, everybody? It's your boy Ferris Muthana, and welcome to another great edition of Good Friends, Better Rivals. Today we are talking more NFL playoffs. We have the NFL Division Round wrapped up. We have the conference participants. One half of the draw seems pretty exciting. The other half makes me want to jump off a bridge, and I'll tell you which half it is.
Well, I think they know which half. I mean,
Yeah, they know.
the premise of this show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what? That it makes me want to hit myself with a bag of flour. That's. Let me use that instead because jumping off a bridge is a little bit too extreme. Sorry, give me a minute.
that's great. Just yawn in front of the audience like that.
My apologies. My apologies. I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready
Yeah,
to.
just be uninterested.
I'm very interested in football. I'm very interested. We also have some coaching news. Chicago got their man. The New York Jets got their man, and I believe the Jaguars got their man. And if reports are holding true, if they're holding true, the Raiders got their man. Well, their old man. I'll point out why he's an old man. And a man connected to another man till the dawn of time. I can't wait for part 3 of their epic rivalry. But let's talk about it. First, let's talk about some coaching news, and then we'll talk about some football. Then we'll talk about the New York Giants being stupid and blaming their defensive backs coach, even though it wasn't his fault. So the coaching news around the league: Chicago, they get Ben Johnson. It was a lot of the smoke was he was going to Vegas. You know, he likes Tom Brady. They fired Tom Telesco. They seemed pretty good, but he's going to Chicago. Ryan Poles and him are going to link up and help Caleb Williams' career out. But the biggest problem is you need to fix that offensive line. Detroit Lions fans are not very happy that he left to a division rival because they feel like he was zoned out during the divisional round, and that's why they lost, because they feel like he was already one foot out the door, didn't really focus on the team, which is funny enough because their other coordinator quickly got a job literally 3 days later. But I digress. So Caleb, Ben Johnson to Chicago, good choice. Good choice. Maybe not. We don't know.
I guess. Well, I mean, we don't know. He's never been a head coach. We can't sit there
Yeah.
and say we know that he's going to be a good choice. He was the top. After Mike Vrabel, he's probably the top candidate out there. Like, obviously, teams want the offensive minded coach. And he was the best one out there because look at what he did with the Lions. He's been he was interviewed last year, and people really wanted him in previous years. So he's done a great job out there in Detroit, and now you get to see whether he can do it as a full head coach, or maybe he just won't even have the role. Maybe he'll just be an offensive guy and just have the head coach as be the head coach, but he's not really the head coach. He's just kind of running the offense, and the defense will take care of itself. But we'll see.
Kind of like a Kyle Shanahan situation.
Yeah,
where he doesn't really have an offensive coordinator. He's the offensive coordinator. He deals with the offense, and then he kind of trusts his defensive coordinator on the other side. It being Robert Saleh or DeMeco Ryans or whoever. That's what Sean McVay did in the Rams, where he hires Wade Phillips. It's like Wade Phillips. He's like, you command the defense. I'll fix the offense early on in his Rams tenure. A lot of talk during the years was if Sean McVay fails in LA, Wade Phillips was going to get the Rams job. And people were like, yo, Sean McVay must be really, really confident in himself, knowing that if he does fail, the Rams will fire him, and they already have Wade Phillips there to be the interim right away. So they may be going that route as well.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jose. Jose in the chat. Wish up, baby. We wish. He meant what up, but I decided to do that one instead.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, you're right, because here's the thing. I think the biggest issue last year with Chicago, they have phenomenal skill players on the outside. The receivers. The rookie Roma Dunze, he had a good year. Just that was overshadowed by the horrible year they had. Keenan Allen still got it in a sense. He's getting older. DJ Moore is there for the foreseeable future. But that offensive line, man, is bad. He was sacked the most out of any quarterback in the NFL. CJ Stroud was number 2. They need to fix that offensive line because here's the thing about Ben Johnson. He's coming from Detroit, who have the second best offensive line in the entire NFL. Frank Ragnow, Penei Sewell, Tyler Decker. You know, I mean, that's the key to the game. You need to fix that first. All the fancy tricks, all the schemes you can do. If you don't got the Jimmies and the Joes in the trenches.
Yeah, but you can't call a game where you can you got to kind of coach around a bad offensive line.
You could.
There's ways. I mean, there's definitely ways you can try to get, obviously call plays that gets the ball out of the quarterback's hand. Just ways to just go away from it, from the pass rush. I mean, you can see where the pressure is coming from, and you know which direction you want to go in. That kind of goes away from all that. So there's definitely ways you can coach around if you're a good offensive coordinator, as we think he is. Even if you do have a bad offensive line, that definitely can help a young quarterback out.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty much not really much to talk about Chicago in a sense. But let's move on to the team that hired their coach right away. New England, they got their man Mike Vrabel, and he's bringing back his buddy Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels is his third stint as offensive coordinator with the New England Patriots. The first 2 stints went pretty well. Multiple time Super Bowl champion. Proved that he's not really a head coach. He did that in Denver, where he famously told everybody in the world, guess what, guys? I'm going to make Tim Tebow an NFL quarterback. And guess what happened? It didn't work. It did not work whatsoever.
They didn't really get the chance, at least the rookie.
Well, yeah, they fired him after that year. They really did. They kind of did fire him.
I mean, I'm not saying that he would have, but I'm just saying he didn't really, put him out there.
That's a good point. But still, come on, son. But without further ado, so yeah, New England, they kind of did Gerard Mayo dirty in a sense.
I don't know, unless he knew that was coming. Unless they told him, which we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know but
I mean,
Bill wanted Gerard. Bill was Gerard's pick.
Mm-hmm.
Gerard was, that's like, this is my pick. And then, the roster sucks. This is a rookie QB, I don't know. It's, it is what it is. Tashard Choice. What did Tashard Choice do, Caleb?
I mean, he's gonna be at least being considered for the running backs coach.
For the Cowboys?
Yeah, the Cowboys, both him and DeMarco Murray. At least that's the story I saw. I don't know if that was true or not.
Mm-hmm.
That him and DeMarco Murray were being considered for a running backs coach.
Mm-hmm. Caleb, meet Caleb. There it is. Caleb. Say hi.
Thoughts on him? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what at his current position. I think he's a running back coach in college. I think it's for Texas. Is he the Texas?
I think that's where I think I know the name.
Yeah, he's the running back coach for Texas, and that's true. He's done a great job there because he keeps making running backs pretty damn good, especially keep putting them out there. And we're still really both those guys. I didn't think, especially after the injuries that the Longhorns had, early in the year at the running back position. And just to be left with the guys that we had, and they still produce pretty damn well.
Greg Weisner, that's the running back.
Yeah,
it was.
Greg. I had no idea who he was. And
he was. I think he was running back 3 or 4. Like he was.
The first two got hurt. And in the off season before it even started, and he was just he was the last one guy standing, and he's done a great job. Also, Blue was really good. Jaden Blue. I thought he did a good job. So if he comes to the Cowboys, I think he'll make our bad running back situation a little bit better. We'll see who we actually get. Hopefully, we get Ashton Jeanty in the draft.
Yeah, maybe, and then you pair him with Tashard Choice's coaching. That could be a choice. But we keep going. New England. They really thought they made a mistake. They kind of rectified it because I believe they wanted Mike Vrabel in the first place. That's what the thoughts around the league was. And they kind of just like gave the job to Gerard as like a favor. and see what would he would do if he succeeded. He probably would have stayed, but like it's kind of dirty. It's kind of dirty in my opinion. It was a little bit nasty. I didn't like it. Like we'll see. Like if Mike Vrabel takes this team and they make it to the playoffs, or they do something good, then we can say Gerard Mayo wasn't built for this.
Mm-hmm.
But if they go 4-13, it wasn't Gerard Mayo's fault. And
either way it was his fault.
Yeah, I don't think it was either. Literally, no talent, man. Their best receiver was Kendrick Bourne. Yeah. No offense to Kendrick Bourne. No offense.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think they already knew that. And that's what I'm saying. Were they just straight up honest with them? You got a year and we're probably going to move on from you. Because we know what you're going to do.
Yeah, and then if that's the case, I don't know why
he just wanted to accept it because maybe he thought
he wanted to be a head coach somehow.
He could overachieve and he just wanted to be the coach of his former team.
Yeah, because here's the thing. He probably was like, if I do succeed,
yeah, then you have to keep me.
You have to keep me. But if I don't,
then I already know.
Exactly.
So they could have. I have no idea.
But here's the thing too,
that's full speculation. But
yeah,
I think maybe they could have been.
But here's the thing too, Caleb. They were in a lot of games.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got beat down a couple times.
Drake made? He played well for most of the game.
Yeah.
He made some bad interceptions throughout those games and
rookie stuff. It wasn't like they they got beat down. See, here's the thing. They beat the Bills the last week. They did get blew out by the Chargers 40-7. They lost by 3 to the Bills. They got beat down by the Cardinals. They lost by 1 to the Colts. They got beat down by the Dolphins. They only lost by 6 to the Rams. They beat the Bears. They lost by 3 to the Titans. They beat the Jets. They got beat down by the Jaguars. They got beat down by the Texans. The first game against the Dolphins barely beat them by 5. The Niners beat the snot out of them. The Jets beat the snot out of them the first game. Then they bounced back. They barely lose to the Seahawks by 3. And week 1, they beat the Bengals. This is a very mediocre, middle of the pack team. Just some things didn't bounce their way. It wasn't like a god awful team. You had a rookie quarterback, rookie head coach. They made some mistakes year 1. You could have given them another year, but they chose not to. It is what it is. But now let's keep it moving. Another head coaching gig that was filled. I believe the Jets are hiring Aaron Glenn to be their head coach. Again, this feels like them hiring Robert Saleh. Hot up and coming defensive coordinator from a team that was really, was kind of like on a roll. The difference between him and Robert Saleh is Robert Saleh made it to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Glenn didn't. The connection with Aaron Glenn, though, is former New York Jets player. Also, former New York Jets scout. When he retired, he became a scout right away because he said it's going to help him be a better coach. And that's what I think, it's helped him in this way. And I think that's why he got the job. He was a Jet. They drafted him in the first round, 12th overall. They did put him in the expansion draft. He played for the Texans. He got drafted 3rd overall. So there's that. So, what do you like, man? I'm a big fan of Aaron Glenn because most of the injuries on the Detroit Lions were on the defensive side.
Yeah.
They're on the defense. None of their big guys got hurt on offense like that. David Montgomery got hurt for a couple weeks and then he came back. But most of their injuries are on the defense side. Aiden Hutchinson was injured. Brian Branch got hurt. A lot of their corners got hurt. They were relying on people like Alquandre Muhammad to rush the passer. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, it just didn't. They couldn't overcome the Commanders' offensive power. De'Ami Brown, Terry McLaurin, the 3 running backs they use, Jaden Daniels. It happens. And then he and then And then, Jared Goff throwing 3 interceptions really doesn't help. Keeps the defense on the field. And that's why they gave up 40. So that's what happens as well. So I like the hire. I like the hire. But it feels like they hired Robert Saleh again.
It does. I'm not sure. Because if you go back when he first started, I wouldn't say he was very good.
He was bad. Defense was
the
bad
Lions
that year.
Defense was ass.
Yeah,
when he first started,
they were.
Obviously, you obviously can get better. He did a good job with the injuries, managing the injuries this year. So I can't completely say he's a great defensive coordinator. Even what Saleh did. I don't think he even reached those heights. So he might be worse. We don't know. But like I said, he was one of the top candidates out there. People did give him a lot of credit for what he did this season. And we'll see what happens. I mean, they're the Jets. I mean, it's just whether he does good or if he just totally sucks. I don't think it's on him. I think it's just because
the Jets are the Jets.
Yeah,
pretty much. All right, Jacksonville. Biggest story of the day. Miss out on all their candidates. Miss out on Liam Cohen, who said he doesn't want the job, is going back to Tampa Bay. And a couple hours later, Jacksonville fires Trent Baalke. The reason all the top candidates don't want the Jacksonville Jaguars job, he got fired. And then a couple hours later, or a day later, apparently Liam Cohen is now back in contention for the Jacksonville Jaguars job. Him and Shad Khan are going to be working together to hire a GM he wants to work with. But if you knew nobody wants to work with your GM, why don't you fire your GM quicker? I don't know what Shad Khan's doing. Shad Khan is one of those owners. Caleb, you know how we talked about, there's a couple, I think Jose brings it up all the time. I think we talk about it here on the show. Some of these owners don't want to win. They just want the check.
Yeah.
They like the $500 million check, or like the $300 million check they get at the end of the year, because the NFL makes $15 billion a year. They all get like $400 million at the end of the year. They get this big old check. Shad Khan's one of them. A couple years, Jacksonville was kind of contending, with AJ Bouye, Calais Campbell, Jalen Ramsey, Blake Bortles, Leonard Fournette. They made it to the AFC Championship game. They almost beat Tom Brady. They almost beat him. That was nice. But most of the time, he doesn't really care about winning. And Jacksonville Jaguars fans, one of the most passionate fan bases in the entire NFL. Because here's the thing. The Jaguars have given them nothing to be happy about. And they still show up. At least with you guys, you have 4 Super Bowls. 5. At least you have 5 Super Bowls. And you guys can still reminisce about those. Watch old NFL films, tapes. Same thing with us. We still have, 2011, 07. The Jacksonville Jaguars fans have nothing. They have nothing. Fred Taylor, David Gerard highlights.
Mark Brunell.
Mark Brunell, that Hail Mary with Jimmy Smith. You know what I mean?
They got the Duval year.
The Duval year. They have those, but they've never given them any happiness, and they still show up. And I respect it. You don't go after Jacksonville Jaguars fans. Annie Anger found that out real easy when she did one of her skits, and she made fun of them, and they went after her, and they put her in a body bag, hypothetically speaking, because they went after her. But yeah, man, he doesn't care. Everyone told you for the past 2 years, no one likes your GM. Byron Leftwich said, I will accept the job if you fire this guy. He told you to your face, I don't want to work with this guy. One of your, I guess, franchise legends. I don't know if Jacksonville Jaguars fans fancy Byron Leftwich as a Jaguar legend. I don't know. I have to ask them. But a prominent quarterback in your franchise history told you, I will accept this job. I want this job. I don't want to work with him. And you said, no, I'm picking him. But then the next 2 years, people tell you no one wants to work with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, they said that before. They said that when he left the 49ers, they said nobody likes this guy.
Jim Harbaugh has no respect for this guy.
Yeah, so I don't even know how he even got that job in the first place. He pissed off a lot of people. that had a bad reputation, and yet he still got the job. It doesn't make any sense, and why he even lasted as long as he did when they've gone through a bunch of coaches in Jacksonville. They went through a bunch of coaches with the 49ers when he was there. He had like fired Tom Sula, fired Chip Kelly, fired Jim Harbaugh, fired Urban
Mike
Meyer,
Singleton.
fired Doug Marrone.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's been through a ton of coaches.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to look in the mirror and be like, the problem is me.
Yeah.
As I go back to the story, Caleb, I don't know if the story's ever been confirmed or not. Jim Harbaugh walks into the San Francisco 49ers locker room and he says, only real men are allowed in here. And he looks at Trent Baalke in the face when he says it. That was one of the reports. Imagine, Caleb, your employee, Trent Baalke is his boss, by the way. Your employee tells you you're not a man. Jim Harbaugh, the football guy, the guy who's very respectful, follows chain of command, well, allegedly, tells you to your face you're not a man. One, you fight that. You fight Jim Harbaugh. All right. I'm sorry if Trent Baalke. I'm fighting Jim Harbaugh if he says that to me. I'm punching him in the face. And all the reports are gonna say Harbaugh and Baalke get into a fight in the locker room. That's what I mean. Because imagine Caleb, if someone walked up to you, Caleb, and said, "Hey, only real men are allowed in here," and he basically tells you you're not a man. What you doing? What are you doing?
I'm gonna cry in the corner.
Okay, all right. Good. Okay, good. Violence ain't the answer. That's never the answer. But lastly, I think, Liam Cohen is going to become the head coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, because he's coming, he spun the block. And then lastly, the Cowboys are still coachless, so we're not talking about them. Reports are coming out today.
There's been a lot of reporting on us.
Yeah, of course, but none of it's true until it happens. You know what I mean?
We've done interviews. We just finished.
Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
And who?
Well, I don't know if we interviewed him because he's still coaching.
No, you guys did like a Zoom interview, didn't you?
Probably. But, I mean, we haven't had him in the building.
Well, yeah, no, because Aaron Glenn did a Zoom interview because he was busy in Detroit, so probably.
But I do want to talk about it because I want to talk about the idiocy
Hit me.
we didn't interview a guy like Ben Johnson or Aaron Glenn or any of the top Mike Vrabel or any of the top candidates that everybody else wanted, and we somehow interviewed the guy that nobody else is interviewing, nobody else wants. Just like even the last guy we hired that nobody else wanted either, which is Mike McCarthy, because it's apparently that nobody else wants him because he hasn't got a job either. There's only one team left, and unless New Orleans Saints are going to hire Mike McCarthy, that means we look that much stupider even hiring that guy because none of these other teams want him. I need some desperate ass teams, and they don't even want him. And yet Jerry Jones thinks he's the smartest guy in the goddamn NFL, and he's gonna try to hire Brian Schottenheimer, who's another just a lame ass, just pushover guy that's gonna let him do whatever the hell he wants, and has gonna let him keep the control and nothing, provide no pushback. And it's just the same thing. It's just the same thing with whether you take Kellen Moore or Brian Schottenheimer, the same guy, same crappy offensive coordinator that doesn't help our offenses and make Dak Prescott any better. And it's just going to be the same crap again. And it just really going to piss off even more fans and just leave the ones that have just a smidge of hope and the ones that say it's our year every year. That's just gone. That's just completely gone for us. And it's just even the most optimistic Cowboys fan just is going to be left hopeless with this type of hire because it's stupid. It's a dumb hire that's going to take us nowhere. And I mean, it's just exactly what Jerry Jones wants. It's a guy that lets him keep control and keeps us not doing anything.
Yeah, pretty much. You're kind of dead. You're kind of dead on arrival. You could be stuck with Brian Daboll and Joe Shane.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, at least your GM is kind of good at his job, Will McClay.
I mean, he's not the GM. Jerry's the GM.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. He's really the GM.
Well,
I'll take Will McClay any day because at least he gets you talent. Your talent may not know how to work together, but at least you got talent on your team. You guys have talent.
Yeah, but we've had some two kind of bad drafts in a row.
Bad first round drafts.
First place, yeah. Two bad picks.
It was Mozzie and who?
And
Tyler
Guyton.
Tyler Guyton, yeah. You guys drafted really raw. Well, Tyler Guyton was raw. So you needed to coach that dude up.
Yeah.
Mozzie, I think they probably fell in love with Mozzie because he's like, oh, he's a defensive tackle for I
think it was just a desperate move because our rush defense was so bad the previous year.
Yeah.
And that's like I said, like I always said, it was because of Dan Quinn's defense just is bad rush defense no matter who you have. He has two of the best defensive tackles of the Commanders, with John Allen and other guy. Deron Payne. And guess what? Their rush defense still sucks. That's just his defense. His defense doesn't allow for a good rush defense. A lot of it's based off of outside pass rushing. So we were desperate and we took a guy that we probably shouldn't have just to try to fill an extreme need, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, it'd be like that. So yeah. But we keep it going. Report coming out today. Las Vegas, Nevada. Caleb's hometown. The producer of The Mafia in Gambling, The Bright Lights, are hiring almost 70-year-old Pete Carroll to be their head coach.
I think he is in his 70s.
I think so. I think he is in his 70s.
Yeah.
Deal isn't set in stone yet, but strong reports are saying Pete Carroll is coming back. Yep. Nope. He's hired. He's hired. We have coming out of, he's 73. He's 73 years old. Pete Carroll, the Seattle Times have come out and said, reports have said he is now hired. Yep, here it is. Adam Schefter, 8 hours ago, Caleb. We have confirmation from Adam Schefter. Pete Carroll is coming back on the rate to be the Raiders head coach. Is a 3-year deal. He'll be 76 years old when this deal ends, but he has an option for a 4th year, so he could be 77 when it ends. Pete Carroll's back, and he's reunited with his best friend, Jim Harbaugh, once again. Part 3 of their epic rivalry. It started off when they were at Stanford and USC. Pete Carroll beat him down in his first year at Stanford. Then the following year, Stanford did the biggest upset money line wise in the modern NCAA, because I believe the line, it was they were supposed to beat them by 35 or 40. Stanford beat them 34-7. So, and then Pete went to Seattle, and then Jim went to San Francisco, and their battles continued there. And then boom, Jim goes to San Diego, and guess who's knocking on that AFC West door? Mr. Pete Carroll. Do you think Pete still got it, Caleb?
You think Pete still got it because they don't got no quarterback. They don't got nothing if you don't have a quarterback.
Well, when he first got to Seattle, he had a skeleton of a quarterback, and they still were kind of successful.
No, they weren't. They won like 7 games like every year. They got the playoffs like at 7-9.
Yeah, they did. But then the next year they got
Russell Wilson.
They got Russell Wilson. Quarterback. Exactly. Yeah, they found Russell Wilson in the 4th round. You don't think Pete Carroll can, find someone in the 4th round?
I mean, if you get lucky.
That's true. So Pete Carroll doesn't got the juice.
Lucky.
He doesn't got the juice.
I don't think that. That's not saying anything about Pete Carroll, though.
That's true. But I like Pete Carroll. Big fan of Pete Carroll. So there's that.
Yeah, I think it's just gonna have a rough time if he doesn't have a quarterback with all those other quarterbacks in his division. I just don't want to. I think it changes his culture. I mean, changes the Raiders' culture. I mean, he's just a big losing culture in here in Vegas. Just expect to be bad. I think he can change that, but unless he gets like I said, unless you get a quarterback, you're just gonna do nothing.
It's isn't that always been the case?
Yeah.
You need a quarterback all the time.
And they don't even have a high enough draft pick to get one of the top two. So unless they're gonna trade up a lot to try to get one of those guys, I don't really expect much from them once again. So I like I said, I'd like it because it at least changes, the rest of the team, makes the rest of the team better. But as far as the team as a whole, can't see them winning a lot.
It's a valid point. But I have a, shout out to William. Hey, yo, Billy Belford. What's up, Billy? How you doing, baby? He continues to be the oldest coach in NFL history. That's true. Yep. They need a good offensive coordinator. OC can make mediocre quarterbacks good and good ones great. If someone can win 14 games with Sam Darnold, anything is possible. What up, long time brother? What's up, baby? How you doing?
If they get, maybe they get Sam Darnold.
Yeah, Sam Darnold is a free agent.
If they get Sam Darnold, then yeah, he probably could win.
Because Minnesota are in a conundrum. Do they keep Sam Darnold or do they pivot to the quarterback they drafted in the first round?
I think after the last two games, you just have to go with the.
You gotta go JJ.
You drafted.
Yeah, because no one's gonna get mad at you if you pivot because of that. JJ is now
even if it doesn't work out.
This is your guy, by the way. But here's the thing:
and you can't say, this dude. Then we should have stuck with Sam Darnold because you already saw. You just saw what Sam Darnold. He can't win in the big moments. So
yeah. And you drafted JJ McCarthy for a reason.
Yeah.
You saw something in him. You saw something, and you wanted him, and he's your guy, and he's supposed to be your guy for the next 15 years. Next year, all the rookie quarterbacks are going to be unleashed. This year's, Bo Nix. I was about to say Bo Jackson. Bo Nix has already been unleashed for Denver, so it'll be his second year. Jaden Daniels, Caleb were already unleashed, and then JJ and Michael Penix are going to have a full year next year, a full year. And we're going to see if that year of sitting and rehabbing and learning, is it going to work? But with Michael, he just sat behind, and you know what? Michael Penix in his 2 games in Atlanta, he looked pretty good. His overtime game against Washington. Speaking of Washington, Billy Belford, big Washington Commanders fan. He's from the DMV area, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. I think he's from Virginia. So big. We're going to be talking about the conference championship in a bit, Billy, if you want to stick around. But yeah, man, Pete Carroll, 73 years old, no quarterback. He just came back for the love of the game and his hatred for Jim Harbaugh. So I respect it. As a man who's born to be a hater, I respect it. I want Pete Carroll to succeed. That's what I want. But here's the thing too. Who made this hire? Did Tom Brady make this hire?
Probably.
Or did the new GM, Tom Spiltek, make this hire?
I don't know. Depends if that he had any type of relationship previously with Pete Carroll. Maybe he knew him in the past and has some familiarity with him.
Yep.
I have no idea because I have no idea who that is. But maybe Tom Brady did. Maybe. But again, Tom Brady's only a minority owner. Even if he says, "I want this guy," I mean, Mark Davis doesn't really have to listen to him.
No, he doesn't. Doesn't have to. But we keep it moving. Now we're moving on to the games. Divisional rounds happened. Caleb, we got Commanders upset the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Texans beat, lost to the Chiefs. Everyone expected that to happen.
Yeah.
Buffalo beats Baltimore. I've talked about that game ad nauseum with our Baltimore Ravens fans. I'll talk about it a little bit more here. And then, in the snow again, the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Rams, and Matthew Stafford was Matthew Staffording once again. So we'll see how it went. But it was a close game until Saquon Barkley said, "Give me the ball and get out of my way." And that's what it is. Russell Wilson may be available in free agency. Imagine a return with Pete. So Russell's free. Justin Fields is free.
Sam Darnold. The reason why he left Seattle is because they didn't like each other anymore.
Yeah, they hated each other.
Yeah.
He didn't want him anymore. And Russell was like, I don't want you either. And he's like, all right,
I
fine.
don't think that's gonna happen at all.
Justin Fields, Justin Fields is free, and Sam Darnold is free. Those are probably the two top free agent quarterbacks on the
Yeah, I think
market.
that's really all they can do is get a free agent quarterback,
Yeah.
unless they want to trade up.
Yeah. Unless they do a deal and they trade up, because there's only two quarterbacks in this draft that are worth a damn.
Mm-hmm.
It's only Shador and Cam. That's it. And I don't think because I keep going back. People be like, "Oh, Joe Shane didn't trade into the top 3." When you really think about it, Caleb, none of the top 3 last year were trading their pick. Like they weren't.
I mean, the Patriots could have.
They could have, but they weren't. They could have, but they weren't. Because imagine, you have a chance to draft a franchise quarterback. Why would you trade out? Why would you trade?
They were already taking the call. That's why. If you had met their price, they would have traded. Unless if they really weren't going to trade, then they wouldn't even taken the call.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't think that call was even that.
Then why did they take the call? They could have. The other two didn't even take the call because they knew absolutely no.
Yeah,
but the Patriots did. That means, okay, give me the right price, and yeah, you can have it.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. But I wouldn't have traded, but it is what it is. But let's take it, Caleb. The game that let's talk about the NFC East. The NFC East first, because the NFC East teams both won their games. It's a Commanders Eagles NFC Championship game.
That's disgusting to say.
I know it's really it's really bad. Shout out to Adam Schefter for being the biggest hater in the world. Let me bring it up. Let me bring up that tweet that he brought up. That he brought up on the. I wanna bring it up, Caleb, because I want you to I gotta show you this tweet, man, because this dude is a hater. He is a hater beyond belief. Where is this tweet, man? It's in the Discord. Tell me here it is. Adam Schefter on Twitter said this. With Washington's win tonight, every NFC team other than the Dallas Cowboys have now played in a conference championship game dating back to 1996. The Cowboys' last NFC title game appearance was in 1995. How do you know that? How do you know that?
Everybody's known that.
That's a good point, but why even tweet that out?
I've been seeing a lot. I've seen so many posts about that. We've known that forever. That was us and the Commanders. At least all the Cowboys fans did.
Mm-hmm.
Has always been brought up. Obviously it's horrible. It's terrible. We got an NFC Championship, but even if we had gone to 10 NFC Championships and we didn't win the Super Bowl, would it really matter? I mean, we would still get the same criticism that we didn't win a Super Bowl since 1995.
Mm-hmm.
We still have the criticism that our quarterback can't do it, can't win the big one. I don't think really anything would change if that wasn't a stat. There would be still the same criticism, still, haters, still. So that's why it doesn't really bother me at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, okay, you're right, it's bad luck, but it really doesn't change anything.
Billy Belford,
if we did.
How do you fire an owner? You know what? How do you fire an owner? You do what the Commanders did.
Well, you
find a scandal.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say that. You hopefully gets himself into a scandal he can't get himself out to.
But it's
not just one. You can't just be just one. It has to be multiple.
No, a very specific scandal. The reason Dan Schneider was fired, people won't talk about like, where he made the cheerleaders become escorts. He basically made the cheerleaders escorts. He made them have sex with people and other stuff. But that's not why they fired him. That's the thing. Here's the thing to tell you. That's not why they fired him. The emails where they found out he was a racist and the NFL was like, we're not going to fire him. We're not going to do that. Is when he held money from them from ticket sales. That's when they fired him. That's when you got to go. All that other stuff, they're like, no, we're fine. He's fine. But when he held money from them, they're like, he needs to go. So if they find out Jerry somehow kept $50 million from them, Jerry's out of there. Jerry's out. But, Jerry ain't stupid. Jerry's the reason Dan Schneider isn't here anymore. You know what I mean? Jerry, Jerry and John, actually, him and John Morrow were like, he needs to go. He needs to go. And then the NFL was like, fine, we agree, he needs to go. And they got him out of there. And then unfortunately,
now we regret it.
You regret it, don't you? You regret it, don't you? Because guess who buys them? Josh Harris buys them, and the Magic Johnson group helps with the buy. They have a competent ownership now. They hired a good GM. They drafted a great a young quarterback.
Franchise.
Yeah, like an actual franchise. Exactly, Billy. It's all about the Benjamins. It's all about the Benjamins. What's up, Leo? How you doing, brother? Or Mr. Ochoa? I don't know why I keep calling you Leo. That's disrespectful. How you doing, Mr. Ochoa? By the way, guys, you
don't call me Mr. Ochoa
because we're the same age, basically, dog.
No, we're not the same age. I have much older than you.
You're 28. I'm 26.
I'm 31. What the hell?
You're 31?
Yes.
You are not 31.
I am 31.
Bro, last time I talked to you, you were 27. How are you 31 now?
When I first met you 4 years ago.
You were 20. No, you weren't.
Yes, I was.
You're 26? Oh, all right. Okay. By the way, guys, our Discord is open to the public. Join the Discord. Also, to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. We also have a coffee page. It's basically like our Patreon, but we switched over to coffee. ko-fi.com/LGR_network. It's a tier system, or you can do a one-time donation a month of your choice. So there's that as well. So join us there. But we keep going. Commanders look great against the Lions. Lions defense had nobody to stop them. De'Ami Brown basically giving the middle finger to Amon-Ra St. Brown in the game. Basically, everyone famously knows about Amon-Ra, basically memorizing all the receivers who were drafted above him. And then there's a specific video where he talks shit about De'Ami Brown. He's like, De'Ami Brown, who's that? The guy from Washington? He ain't nobody. And then De'Ami Brown was like, I'll show you who I am. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he had a great game. Shout out to De'Ami Brown. Jaden Daniels just was magic that day, but 13 IR injuries for that defense. Aiden Hutchinson was standing on the sideline watching this happen. Could he have made a difference? Yes, he could have made a difference. But it happens. It happens. So it is what it is. They had a great game. It was snowy in Philadelphia. Apparently, Saquon Barkley called Shady McCoy and told him, how do you run in the snow? Because I remember what you did to Detroit that one day. Shady gave him some advice. And then Saquon Barkley ran all over the Rams, which was expected, Caleb, because they faced each other previously in the year. Earlier in the year, he ran for 245 yards, I think?
Yeah.
On them. So it's like, the Rams couldn't stop him anyway. So they were never going to stop him. So it is what it's, it's Saquon Barkley.
They didn't make it a game. They came back in that game. They almost had it in that final drive. Matt Stafford couldn't do it. So it's not like it really is not just the Eagles. It's just so frustrating because the Eagles don't look good at any point in this season to me. Keep winning.
Because of 20.
Barkley, he just carrying that whole entire team.
Why isn't he getting MVP consideration?
Honestly, I think he should because he literally does everything for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Even with all their talent on the outside with DeVonta Smith and AJ Brown, they don't even throw the damn ball. Jalen Hurts doesn't throw the ball. Even when he does, he's not that accurate. And it's just been all Saquon. Obviously they have the best offensive line in football, so that definitely helps them out a lot. So that's part of it. But he is doing everything. He's scoring all the touchdowns and or at least getting them down where Jalen Hurts can run it in for himself or do touch push or whatever. But he's doing everything from that. That's why I don't give a lot of credit to Kellen Moore because it's really not that hard to just say, "Hey,
hand the ball off."
Take one.
Exactly. I could tell him to do that. Yeah. Just give the ball to 20. You know what I mean? And Jeff, make sure the offensive line opens up the hole. That's pretty much it. Yeah, Eagles, Commanders, Caleb. Which one can we stomach in the Super Bowl?
I hate the Eagles with
So the
so much.
Commanders.
Yeah, it has to be the
So I guess they'll
Commanders.
be the Commanders.
I hate the Eagles. I hate the Eagles more than any other team. Honestly, more than anything else in the world. I hate the Eagles.
I laugh because I agree. We're going Commanders. We're rooting for the Commanders. This is now a Commanders podcast.
Well, I'll root for Dan Quinn. I like me some Dan Quinn.
Yeah, I'll root for who on the Commanders that I can root for.
I don't know. I don't think they have any former Giants.
Yeah, no, I ain't got nobody. I ain't got nobody. No, I ain't got nobody.
Well,
bro.
you just root against Saquon. That's what you do.
I guess, yeah, for sure. Well, yeah. I'll root against Saquon. I'll root against the Eagles. I don't, yeah. I think the biggest key, the Commanders have beaten them this year, but I think the biggest key in that loss against the Commanders is Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was ejected from the game. So this time around, he's, if he doesn't get ejected in this game, that's a big blow to the Commanders' chances because they have to deal with him again. Because when he played against them earlier in the year, he beat them. They beat them. They split the series 1-1.
Yeah,
so
that was during the time. I think Jaden had just come off his injury.
Yeah,
when they first played him, I think that played a big factor because they didn't score too many points in that game. And you saw what they did in the second game. Because even though Jalen Hurts got hurt in that game, he wasn't playing defense. They still had all their starters on defense, and Jane Daniels lit them up. So that's why I'm saying, like when Jane Daniels is healthy, I think he can light those defensive backs up, and even in this game, and that's why I do give him a good chance to get the upset in this one. It is obviously going to be a huge struggle for Dan Quinn's defense to stop the run because he doesn't do that. He's never done that. And it's just going to be, I mean, he had like 150 yards in the first half of the last game.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be extreme struggle. But if he can somehow, some way find a way to at least limit his effect on the game, I think that Jay Daniels can really do a number on the Eagles defense and keep them at least in contention to win this game.
Billy brightens up a good point. They stopped during the second half of the last game. But
That's
but the Lions were trailing.
But it was different because they can really just sell out and just run blitz the whole time because they weren't worried about Kenny Pickett or
I think he was talking about the Lions game.
And the second half of the last game. Well, I think he said the last game as in when they stopped them in the second half.
Well, we're about to find out. Do you mean
I'm saying they stopped them in this, but they did stop them second half of the
second Eagles game. No, he's talking about the Eagles game. Yeah,
because they weren't worried about Kenny Pickett and they could just basically sell out. And
because Kenny Pickett, you're not scared of Kenny Pickett.
Because they weren't scared of the quarterback.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. We're going Commanders. We hope the Commanders win because I can stomach the Commanders. And you know what? Let's flip on to the AFC side. The Chiefs, the Texans. What an embarrassment of a game. What an embarrassment of the game. Like, I'm sorry, like the Texans got hosed. They got hosed. How is it roughing the passer when he's a runner and I go helmet to helmet with my teammate?
Yeah, well, I mean, did they call it roughing the passer? Or they just called.
They called roughing the passer, Caleb.
Oh, okay. Because usually they just call like unnecessary roughness because they hit him in the head.
Yeah, I saw the graphic. It said roughing the passer, and I'm like, what?
I'm saying usually they would still probably call that. They would call it, unnecessary roughness, hit him in the helmet because you're not supposed to do that, even on a running quarterback.
Yeah,
which is stupid because he's still just running.
He's a runner. No, when you're a runner, you're not a quarterback. You're a runner.
Yeah,
it's I mean, but he's the thing too. Like shout out to Troy Aikman for getting upset on the broadcast, saying like, "What is this nonsense?" The Texans got hosed a little, and and I'm sorry, man. It's BS. It's BS. It should have been a closer game. The Texans should have had a shot.
Yeah.
And I should be, if you're the Texans, you should be aggrieved. By the way, in big Texans news, they did fire their offensive coordinator today, Bobby Skolwick. He's now unemployed.
They did,
but
damn.
Yeah,
That guy was in contention for head coaching jobs
last year, yeah, he was.
Yeah.
But offense coordinators need to improve their scheme, and he didn't really improve his scheme.
No, they got worse.
They got worse. Exactly. So that's probably a shot why. But yeah, man, it was. People are talking about like, oh, they're just like the Patriots. Like, even they're not the Patriots because the Patriots actually cheated in the early years. They actually cheated. So that's why people hated them. They've always hated them for that reason.
Yeah, like people think they just hate because they actually cheated.
Like they actually cheated. They were caught cheating.
We saw the scandals. We saw the multiple scandals and them going through all the courts and all this.
Yeah.
Like we watched it happen. What are you talking about? How do you not remember this?
Exactly. But the Chiefs are just so unlikable. They're just unlikable.
I mean, maybe for you, I don't think. I mean, yeah, I guess for different reasons.
Yeah, they are unlikable. I don't particularly hate them.
Yeah, I don't know. People, I'm like, I hated the Patriots. Like,
I hate. Yeah,
Brady was a douchebag. I thought Bill Belichick was an asshole. I mean,
yeah. People are saying like, oh, there's just like y'all don't remember the hatred of people against the Patriots. Like,
yeah, like
the pure unmitigated. Like they hated them because they won 7. Tom Brady won 7 Super Bowls and 10 appearances, 70%. They won a lot, and they hated him for that. But they also cheated. With the Chiefs, they're just kind of annoying. They're just annoying.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I don't necessarily hate them. Yeah, they win a lot. I mean, get a lot of attention, but they're winning. So I mean, I guess it doesn't bother me as much.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the Texans were kind of, they're kind of behind the 8 ball in the game. But there's nothing really much to talk about this game. Travis Kelce always
the refs cheated for them and they won. So
yeah. Travis Kelce always seems to be wide open every single time. You know what I mean? No. Hey, no. So Billy. Yankees beat people legally. Duke basketball, same. Lakers, Celtics did the same thing. Golden State, no one really hates Golden State. Chiefs, the Chiefs.
Yeah,
they're annoying.
Popular teams,
Patriots cheated. The Patriots cheated. The only people here that they're the only team that's actually cheated. Duke didn't really cheat. They just,
it's just Boston. Like everybody just hates Boston.
Everyone just doesn't.
Like nobody likes Boston teams outside of Boston.
Literally, except my brother, which is weird. My brother's a Boston Celtics fan, a Patriots fan. I don't know how that happened. We actually got into did I ever tell you so I became a New York sports fan?
Yes, you told him many times.
Okay, good. All right. We already know the story. But yeah, man, hatred. It breeds out hatred. But yeah, so they're annoying. It's whatever. I don't understand. I think the only man who's ever stopped Travis Kelce in the playoffs ended up blowing his Achilles out, and that was Dre Greenlaw in the Super Bowl last year. Because Travis Kelce was a non-factor in that first half against the Niners, and then Dre blows out his Achilles, and then Travis Kelce becomes Travis Kelce. And he always seems to be wide open. He always seems to show up in the big moments because he knows the regular season.
Like, do you see how slow he kind of moves?
I don't know how he gets so open. He is so slow. And we're talking about tight ends because let's move on to the second game of the AFC playoffs, where tight end was kind of the biggest factor in the game. It was a snowy day in Buffalo. We have Bills. We have Ravens. It's snowy. It's going to be a run. It's going to be a running game. Not a lot of passing. Josh didn't really pass a lot. They ran the ball down the Ravens' throat. Lamar Jackson was shaky in the early bits. He threw an interception. He got a fumble, interception in the first quarter, a fumble in the second quarter. The interception, like I said, I talked about it ad nauseum with our Ravens fans. The only turnover that yielded points was the fumble for Lamar Jackson. And that's because, Von Miller took the ball and got tackled at the 30-yard line on the Ravens side. The interception, nothing happened after that. So it's kind of like whatever.
I
But the
wouldn't say
fumble was
whatever.
no, yeah, I get it, but it was still early enough in the game.
Turnover, it stops you from scoring.
Yeah.
Takes
Yeah, but
away
it was still
position.
early. It was still early in the game for him to make up for it. And he
Yeah,
did. He made up for it in the game. But
but
the thing
does it
is,
matter? But does it matter when it happened? Because I mean, if you okay, say you're up 10 points in the first half
mhm.
and you didn't make any of the mistakes, but you made them in the second half and you still lost because you made those turnovers. Did it make a difference? They both either way they contributed you to losing.
Yeah, but if you have a turnover late in a close game, that's bad.
But it wasn't close. That's what I'm saying. You would have been up 10 points. You turned the ball over, and then because your turnovers, you made it close, and you
Exactly.
lost close.
No, you're right. But the Buffalo didn't score off of that turnover. That the first interception. They scored off of the second turnover, which was the fumble. And then here's the thing too. The game was still close. It was 24-9. This is the turnover that changed the game. Ravens defense played great in the second half. Gave up 6 points. Game was close, 24-19. Mark Andrews is wide open. All he has to do is run up. He runs up. Boom. He falls down. Drive continues. Fumble. And then they get the ball back. They get a field goal. It's 27-19. Then that's where you see that's where the game kind of switched, because then Lamar Jackson now has to have a long 2-minute touch. Well, no, not a long, because there was still a minute left. Ryan pointed out to me there was still a minute 20 something left in the game after the drive by Lamar Jackson. But the way the Ravens defense was playing, it looked pretty good. They probably still had a shot to, in the game. But it should have been 27-27 with a minute left. He's wide open. He drops the ball. Mark Andrews, speaking of another tight end, Mark Andrews, he's wide open. He drops the ball. The fumble when they were down. Because here's the thing, Caleb. Let's say he doesn't fumble the ball. They're down 24-19 and they go down to score. They actually take the lead, 25. They take the lead. So they're up 25-24. If they kick the field goal, they're up 26-24. If they go for two and they get it, they're up 27-24. They take the lead. And then now they have to drive down to then score on Baltimore. But the game is still, it's still tight because it was 24-19. That fumble changed the complexity of the game.
Yeah, and I think I think it was the biggest difference in the game. Only not just because obviously a fumble obviously affects every game, but more in the fact that the Bills have been playing this way the entire season of not turning the ball over. They really protect the ball a lot. We've seen a total different Josh Allen of protecting the ball, not being as reckless as he has been. And I think they really played that way in this game. Like they were making like extra sure they were not playing to make mistakes like that, not turning over the ball, and kind of playing it safe. That because I think it shows in the numbers itself. I mean, they did not have big numbers, whether it was passing or rushing on offense. I mean, the offense didn't look, explosive really. They just looked very efficient in protecting their lead, protecting the ball, and not making mistakes that the Ravens did.
Yeah, pretty much what happened. But it is what it is. Ravens lost. Josh had a great game. He did enough to win. He didn't do nothing crazy. It was
Yeah, it was
snowy.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It was a very safe, kind of protect ball, protect the lead, and just do what we need. Just do enough to win the game.
Yeah. So yeah, it is what it is. It happens. They both had great games. So here's the thing too. Lamar's not a choker. There's a big narrative saying Lamar choked. But Caleb, tell me if this what choking is. You're down 27-19. We need to drive and score. And your star quarterback gets you down there and you score and you're down 27-25 and you need a 2-point conversion and your tight end's wide open and he drops the ball. Did your QB choke?
No, but you well, if you frame it like that, but you can also frame it in the fact that you just go
He had a
into it.
bad game. He
Yeah,
didn't
that's
have
what
a
I'm saying.
great game,
You can say
but did he
you
choke?
choked in the fact that going into the game, you didn't play a full game, and you choked in that way that you didn't play your best game when you're supposed to.
So the definition of choke was different, right? The
I mean,
definition of the
that's
choke.
always
What
what
does
they say
choking
about
mean?
the other quarterbacks, especially Dak in
Mhm.
particular. They always say he's choked, because he doesn't have the full game because a lot of the time he does have a good second half, and because you could say that. I can go back to the Packers games that he played. He had a good second half, but he didn't win.
Mhm.
So that's why. So yeah, if you frame it like as far as he came back and obviously played well, but in the fact that just he doesn't play his best game in the best in the most important moments, then you could say yeah, he choked.
Yep. Yep. We can talk about that, but I think he didn't have a solid game. He wasn't. I'm not gonna say he choked, but he didn't play great. You know, so I'm not gonna say no. Like because here's the thing too, man. We need to like people were blaming Josh Allen for losing the game against the Chiefs. He had a great game. It's not his fault that his defense couldn't stop the Chiefs for 13 seconds. He didn't choke either. That was
Hmm.
not his fault. He had a great game, and it's
But
not his fault.
that's why when Patrick Mahomes doesn't play well, even though they win, but like
Mhm.
you still know that he's capable of doing what he did against the Bills.
Yeah,
That's why even if he does lose, it's not really seen as bad because he's always capable of doing making that drive and to win the game, to actually win it, and not just coming close. Like Mahomes is gonna win it.
yeah,
I guess that's the difference between choker and a non-choker or something. But like I said, we always go over this every week. Nobody
yeah,
else is doing that. Only Mahomes is doing that. Only Brady is doing that.
yeah. So it is what it is. So Chiefs, Bills, who we got?
Chief, I mean, like I said, I just praise Mahomes for how great he is. It's just it sucks. I mean, he can play mediocre and still do enough to win the game. Obviously, his defense comes through for him a lot of the time, and I do think that's going to happen in this game. Though, like I said, the Bills haven't been playing extremely explosive or anything, just doing enough. And I just think in this game, it's just not going to be good enough against the Chiefs. And so the way they're playing, I think he'll have to get a little reckless if he wants to win the game, which I don't think he has been all season. But that's what I think that's what he's going to need to do, and really put it down the field on the Chiefs um, to win this game. But I just don't think it's going to happen. And I think that the Chiefs defense will stand up, play well, and it's going to be probably lower scoring game, and the Chiefs will win like always.
Yep, I'm going Chiefs. Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Because the dark magic of Patrick Mahomes. I'm just gonna go with it. Um, Chiefs, Commanders in the Super Bowl is what we got. And you know what? I think Chiefs get a three-peat.
Yeah, I do as well.
Yeah. So it is what it is. Yeah, then there's only really one New York Giants news. Um, we fired our defensive backs coach Jerome Henderson, and we hired another defensive backs coach. Um, what's his name? I think was it Leon Marcellet? Oh, Markel Manuel. Marcond Manuel. He was the defensive backs coach in Atlanta for a couple of years. Let me see. He actually played in the NFL. He played as a player. He played for the Bengals, Seahawks, Packers, Panthers, Broncos, Lions. He was the safeties coach in New York, the Jets. He was the DB coach in Philly. He was the defensive coordinator in Atlanta, and then he was also the secondary coach in Atlanta as well. He does have a Super Bowl to his name. I think that was What Super Bowl was this? Oh, he was a part of the Seahawks Super Bowl when they beat the Broncos 43-8. Hope Adelia's not watching this. That's all I gotta say. But on that note, pretty much I know nothing about the guy. He's a DB coach. I don't really care. Just do your job. My care is I don't know why we still have the same GM who needs to be fired. That's my thing. Joe Shane needs to be fired. But on that note, it is what it is. But that's pretty much the show. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Caleb, where can people find you?
Find me at NFL22 on Instagram and Twitter/X. You can find me on this channel. Bet in the NFL. We have the show up this week. You go watch that for my NFC Championship picks, and we'll be off next week. And we'll be back for Super Bowl week with all the prop bets you could ever want. Because we're gonna have a long list of those to get you ready for the biggest betting day of the year, which is Super Bowl weekend.
Yeah. My name is Ferris Muthana. You can come at Ferris Muthana on Twitter, at @the_Ferris Muthana, or ferrismuthana.bluesky.social on Blue Sky, _Ferris_Muthana on Instagram. But on that note, everybody, have a wonderful day. See you guys next time. Stay safe and peace.